podcast with Read 21, where everything is about literacy. Remember, literacy is in every facet of life. So, no matter what kind of career you have, literacy is involved. Now, today we have a special guest. Our guest today is a parent, and she's one of the early parents that used Read 21. And so I can't wait for you to meet her. Her name is Shantanique Johnson. She's the parent of a child named Zion. Shantanique, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Miss Lee. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I am enjoying the fall. That's my favorite season of the year. How are you liking
Mine's
the
too.
weather?
I'm loving fall. I love like the cool breeze, but a little bit of sunshine. That's if it can stay like that all year, I would be in
Yes.
love.
Now you're a native Chicagoan. So are you? Do you miss the cold weather?
No, I don't miss the cold weather. I don't even come outside in Georgia in the cold weather. This is where I hibernate. I don't come outside. So, Chicago, I do not miss the weather. I love the summer, but not the winter.
Well, that's good. This is my second year here in Georgia, and I'm a native Mississippian, so I am definitely used to the heat.
Yes.
But I have to say, the winters here are pretty nice, pretty mild, not too cold, but the falls here, oh, I love the fall here. It's like a little bit more crisper in the air than it is in Mississippi. So I appreciate that. But we're
Yes.
not on here to talk about weather. How many children do you
Right.
have?
I only have one. I only have one, and he's 10. His name is Zion, as you stated.
Mm-hmm. What grade is Zion in this year?
He is in the fourth grade. He's almost through with elementary. It's so sad, but we're almost done.
It is a transition when your kids go from elementary to middle. It really is. And
Yes.
so I know that Zion was one of the early kids that used Read 21 here in Georgia. And I wanted you to kind of share some information from your experience as a parent. I know you talked to some parents in the past on behalf of Read 21, kind of sharing what your
hmm
experience was. But I just want you to just give us your personal overtake. What was the problem you had before working with Read 21? Why was it even a decision to use it?
One of the main things I'm gonna first say is confidence. He lacked a lot of confidence when it came to reading because, like, most of his reading sessions where he is getting help is in front of a classroom. Even if it's in small groups, it's still around other kids. And when he comes home, it was dialogue between me trying to get him to understand certain words and sounds, and then
Yes.
from me being from when I was taught, we're being taught cat in this way like that. So it was like, okay, if I'm not assisting him and I can't have someone with him at home 24/7 to help him, then how can I help my child? So it became like a struggle for me, like an admission for me to make sure that I get help from him, like getting a tutor or something. But when we came across Read 21, it to me is better than a tutor. It's like a living teacher. It's a you're there every step of the way when it comes to Read 21. They're listening to your voice, so you are articulating the words, you are sounding out the words for them, you're assisting them, and then certain times when they are like not getting words wrong, you'll call and be like, hey, I see Zion struggling on this, so how about I give him next time tomorrow we're going to do 30 minutes of trying to understand this, and then let's go back to see if he can get it. And every single time you did that, the next day he'd go back, here goes a 90, and he might have got a 60 something by himself. But after he actually sat through you and had a like a one-on-one with you where it was confident, where no one's around him, where no one's going to like judge him or anything, I started to see his confidence build as he walked out the room, and you can actually hear his confidence as he was, sounding out the words and saying them back to you. You can hear the recording that he had more sureness in his voice, and Read 21 does give that to kids.
Yes, and that's awesome. And the good thing is, and what Miss Johnson is referring to, Zion actually got to get that personal assistance. And kids in school, they get to get it as well from the lesson supports. So we offer lesson supports with our online teachers manuals. So if students are struggling with a particular skill, sometimes it's good to just pull them away one on one and work on that skill one on one, then put them back into the app because you want them to be successful. But if they're stuck in a certain area, let's get them out of that area, give them the confidence they need, figure out what it is, and get them back on task. And it's designed like that to be more like a teacher. In fact, like you were saying, it seems like a teacher in your home, and that was intentional. So when I made it so it followed the pattern of a real teacher. So when I taught, I was very intentional about my students. I wanted every single kid to succeed in everything that I taught. So it was not, okay, let's get 80% of the kids or 70% or 60%. No, I want 100% of my kids on target. And that's why this program is made exactly like that. So 100% of the kids can be on target and they can be good, effective readers. Now, when you think back to Zion struggling, do you think COVID had any play in that? Do you think it caused any kind of decrease in his learning?
I want to say to a certain extent, but before COVID, I already seen that he did have some learning deficiencies when it did come to reading. So I already knew that that was going to be a struggle for him. But since he was out for COVID and he couldn't get that one-on-one learning or actually get an actual teacher's setting to get the learning, it became more of a burden then, and it became more of like you can tell it was going to be more work than it was before when he goes back to school and actually got it.
Yes. Now, as a parent, a lot of people say, okay, well, why aren't the parents teaching the kids how to read? Well, guess what? I know a lot of teachers that can't teach their students
Right.
how to read because people think that because you can read is an automatic thing that everybody can just teach the next generation. And it's not quite that simple.
It's not.
There are steps to doing it. And everybody doesn't learn the same way. And even if you learned a specific way, it doesn't mean your son will learn that same way. And it doesn't
Exactly.
mean my kids will learn that same way. It's just things change. It doesn't mean my grandchildren will learn that same way. And I saw a difference in my granddaughter from my girls. So there is a difference. And so I want everybody to remember that. Teaching children how to read isn't an automatic response. It is not something where because they can talk, they can look at the words and just capture them. It's not that
Right.
simple.
It really isn't. It's not at all. And I think that was what, when I first was teaching him how to read, I was having him write the words down. We're going to say the word, then I want you to write them down 5 times each. And every time you write them, I want you to say the letter that it is, and I want you to say the word over again. I was doing that so much that he actually started memorizing it. So with him memorizing it, it was making it a little bit more complicated because even when he started reading books, if he reads that book after the first time and you tell him read it again the next day, next week, next year, he's gonna remember because he memorized it word for word. But once you picked out a word within the book, he wouldn't know what that word is just standing alone by itself. So that's when I knew like, okay, what the method I have is not working. And us as parents, we also have to know that just because we can't help solve our kids' issue, it doesn't mean that we are lacking in something. It doesn't
Yes.
mean that we are doing something wrong. It just means that we have a child that needs a little bit more extra attention than maybe you even took for yourself as far as education or as far as like you knowing things because there's no book to parenting, there's no book to teaching anything, so you don't know the exact words to say or the exact like how to do the steps by steps. So to me, I feel like if I didn't get my child help, then that's where I failed at. But I felt more confident in knowing, okay, since I can't do it, I'm going to reach out to someone that can do it. So I don't want any parents to feel like it's your fault or I don't have time or I
Yes.
have to work or I have to do this. It's just that sometimes with our children, we do have to take that extra step and extra mile. And I just consider that as my child being extra special. Like And with doing that, that's going to ensure as he gets older, it's going to, anything that comes as an obstacle to him, he's going to want to work a little bit harder. He's not going to be afraid to get an outsource from someone else to be able to assist him. He's going to know like it's okay for me to get help because that's what I was taught. My mom did it, my dad did it, so it's okay for me to take this extra steps to get extra help to be more successful than what I've already have been taught to be.
Yes, yes. And you know what? That's a lesson for life because I'm
Yeah,
telling you, so many grown people, especially men, have that problem of reaching out for help. I
yeah.
know my husband, oh my goodness, he is
Oh
bad at
man,
it. I'm thinking, like, okay, John, it's okay to say you don't know how to do that.
no.
So, because I can't understand why you still looking at this and nothing has happened. Just tell me you don't know how to do it. Or
Right.
it's okay for me to help you too. But and we all need help sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of life. It's part of the connection in life. So when
Exactly.
you think back when you were just going through that frustration of, trying to solve the problem, you're having him repeat the words, you're having him write the words. What did that frustration feel like to you?
I'm not gonna lie. For a little while, it felt like failure. It felt like I was failing him in some aspects because I'm thinking I was thinking that I'm doing all of these things, but it's like okay, so what is he not getting? Like, I know it's not me because in my mind, I'm like okay, I went to school. This is how I was taught, so I know it couldn't be that. But then when I took a step back, I just after a while, I was like okay, I'm failing at something. Like I am not doing something right, and once I realized by not getting help, extra help that you need, that's considered failing. When you're going out and actually doing something about it, I'm really not failing. It's just once again, I have a child that needs a little bit more guidance, needs a little bit more of a push to help him. And I'd
Hmm.
rather get the guidance and get the help now versus
Yeah.
when he gets in his teenage years or his high school years and he's already formed kind of who he wants to be and what he wants people to look at him as because we can teach our children what we want them to be in the world, but once they go out the door and they do their own thing, we don't have control over that. We're not there to see them. So I knew that at that moment I'm not a failure. I need to stop using that failure word. I need to
Yes.
find a solution.
Yes.
Change it from failure to find a solution. And when you came to his school, it was like this is the solution. I seen him come home after the first day confident. Like he actually sat down and wanted to read. Like I'm just like, what happened to you? Well, Miss Lee came out of school and we did some Read 21 and I said, oh yeah, I need to see her ASAP because this is where we need to be.
Wow, that's awesome. So I want you to take us to that moment when you realize, okay, so was that moment that you felt like Read 21 is actually working to solve this problem that I have? Is that when you felt like it was solving your problem when he came home with that confidence, like, okay, this is it, this is the solution?
Yes, I felt like that was the start of solving my problem because, like I said, once I seen the confidence, I felt like a little weight off my shoulder. Like, okay, so I do find something that's giving him confidence because before he wants needs to want to read, he needs to have
Hmm.
that confidence to even open up his
Yes.
mouth to even want to sound out the word. So when I seen the confidence, it gave me a little like breath of fresh air. Like, okay, he has the confidence. So let's see if how this works. And like after a month of being with you, I was able to breathe. Like I knew, like Miss, let me call Miss Lee because you're not understanding. Let me ask her like, what can we do or what is there to do? But for the most part, you were already on it. So once I seen that you're on top of it and you care like I care, it was like I can just get in the passenger seat and however you tell me to guide him. Once you give him the direction, I'm all for it.
Wow. So when you think about the program now, because of course I cannot be in everybody's homes, and
Right.
even though Shantanique got to have that experience, would you say the program is, how does the program assist parents in a way where they can feel like okay, they can let their child get on, do a lesson a day? How did that experience feel to you?
It was amazing actually because now with the program you can go on there and you can track your child's where he's at. You can track his progress. You can listen to him say some things, because I know at one point in time, Zion will be like, well, it doesn't work, or I said the word right, and then it said it was I was wrong. But now that I'm able to go back and check it, I'm looking at like, no, Zion, here's the word what you said, and this is the correct way that it's supposed to be said. So let's go back and do it again. It didn't cut off on you. It didn't do those things. So it lets you be in control. Actually, it actually gives you a sense to be in control. It gives you where, like, if you see that your child is on lesson, just to say 5, and they're struggling with some of the things, you actually can go back and unlock the previous lesson to where you're able to have them do it over again. Have them be able to, like, whatever certain part that they are missing, they can go back to that same spot and rework that out and re-listen to it and relearn what they might have missed. And for us parents, that's just, like I said, it's like a breath of fresh air. You can hear it, you can see it, you can touch it, you can change it, you can, now you are really in control of your child's life. You're really in control of their reading future. So how much you care about it is how far your child's going to get, but it makes it so much easier, and I'm so grateful for that part.
That's good. That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. And that's what I want parents to have. I want them to have that confidence of knowing that this is going to be a solution that helps you without you having to sit next to your child. You can go back, and if you're busy, you're cooking, you're working, you can go back and see how they did yourself and hear how they did yourself. So it's not about, okay, mom, or okay, dad, I did such and such, but oh no, such and such. So if they're playing music or they're on YouTube, you're going to hear that. So
Yes.
you're going to be able to know what your child's true experience was. And that's important for parents to stay in control. And when schools use it, for schools to stay in control, because we want the teachers or the parents to stay in control of what's happening with the child.
Yes.
Now, when you think about everything, and when you think about other programs that you've used, what do you think? Why do you think Read 21 is different?
For starters, it's created by a person that cares. It's created by a person that wants to see change, that wants to see kids succeed. Other programs, to me personally, like hooked on, I mean, like certain programs, I don't feel that it's not designed for every child. Let me say that it's not designed for, like you said, 100% of the kids. This program is designed for whether a child is doesn't read at all, whether they know 1 or 2 words, whether they know 1,000 words, they just don't know how to put them together. It breaks it down for you per your child's level, not per the level that the instructor feels your child should be on per age or per grade level. It actually,
Yes.
if your child is in 5th grade and they're reading on a 1st grade level, you can take them down to a 1st grade level privately. Like, it's not embarrassing. And when they go to school in the 5th grade, they're like, okay, I might not know how to read all of this, but from what I learned from my previous lessons, I do know a little bit of it. So they'll still have a sense of feeling a little bit more comfortable when they are reading in front of the class, because privately you have them on the level that they're supposed to be on versus what everybody thinks they should be on.
Yes, yes, that's important. And that's part of why Read 21 was developed, to fill in those gaps, because every child's gaps are not the same. And so,
Right.
just like you said, some kids, they have a gazillion amount of sight words they know, or they know how to decode already. They can look at some single letters and maybe blend them together. Or they may not understand how to interact with prefixes and suffixes. So
Right.
there's a lot of little challenges. And then when they get to the critical thinking, they may not know how to dissect complex text and understand it. And so that's what's so incredible about this. We use Read 21 for intervention and enrichment. So once you're at that fluency level, then let's go to the comprehensive level, because that's the one that's going to really change your life all the way through college and beyond. And so
Right.
this is awesome, and I'm so glad that you're sharing your experience. So I want you to tell us overall, When you think about the program, now that it's solved your problem, what does life look like now for Zion? For you
Oh
and
man.
Zion? Because as a parent, I know you're experiencing things too when your child is struggling. So it's not just your child experiencing what they're having. The parents are going through too. So what is
Yes.
life like now for both of you since this problem is now solved?
Oh well, first off, homework does not take 1,000 years. When he when he comes home now, like when he stays after school, when he comes home now, a lot of his homework is done, and when I check over it, is done correctly because he's actually able to read it. When he does some of it, when he have to do homework at home, like the reading portion of it. Last year I had to sit there and let him read all of it by himself. It could take a long time. I don't want to read it for you, but I also don't want to sit here for hours either. But this year it was I can he can sit there and read the whole thing, and then he can write his sentences out where he understands. And now it also translated into his spelling. Since he knows how to pronounce the word and knows how to put the words and sounds together, his spelling work is becoming a lot better, which is it's elevating into other grade levels. His math is becoming a lot better because he's able to read and understand the math reading comprehension part. His
Yeah.
test scores are coming better because he's able to read the words and actually understand what they mean. So we might spend 20, 30 minutes on actually homework itself because he's already started on it. He already understands. He knows what to do. He's ready to read it. He's not like, I can't read, so I don't want to do it. I got this. I know how to read this. Let me start out reading this. Where I don't even need to sit next to him. He can read it, write it, whatever he needs to write. I check it, and it's like, okay, you understood it. Okay, your sentences match what you're writing. Okay, read 21. We're doing good.
That's so awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of him. I am so proud of Zion. That is so wonderful.
Yes.
When I taught, some people wonder, why do you want to be a teacher or why teachers? Because I never wanted to be a teacher, by the way. When I
Oh,
grew
really?
up, I wanted to be a rapper. I even wrote raps back then. And then I
Okay,
wanted
let
to
me
be a
see.
writer. And then I wanted to be an oncological nurse practitioner. But I became a single mom at 17. So my life was just different. And so when I went through that whirlwind of being married off to somebody that I really did know, and that's why I was a mom so
Mm-hmm.
early, and my life changed. It's just like all of my dreams kind of went out the window. Then 9/11 happened, and one of my sisters told me, she said, you're always working with kids because I was always volunteering and working with kids because
Uh-huh.
I've always had a heart for kids. And so she said, well, instead of just, volunteering, why don't you go back to school and become a teacher? And then you don't have to do the other jobs plus work with kids on the side. And so
Right.
I did because after 9/11, I just saw things so differently. And so I went back to school and I became a teacher. And my heart was there just seeing kids succeed. When kids have that light bulb moment and things come on, oh my goodness, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's
Yes.
like one of those
Joy.
that I cannot replace. And I know other than being a parent when your kid get it, oh my goodness. Because when
Yes.
my kids got things, when they were younger, but my granddaughter, I saw it a little bit more through her because I wasn't working two jobs. And just seeing her just, get certain things, and it was just, oh, just feel my heart. So I
Yes.
know you have to feel good to know that he can do it independently because one day he's going to be a man. And
Yes.
it's just, and you're preparing him. And you are such a good mom. I'm so proud of you too.
Oh,
I'm
thank
talking to
you.
you like you're my kid.
Oh, thank you,
I'm
Miss
old enough to
Lee.
be your mom though. But
Thank you.
it's such a beautiful thing. And I'm just, as a former teacher, it's always a joy to see parents really involved in their kids' learning. and making sure their kids get what they need and accepting where their kids are. Okay, so all right, so he's here. So what do I need to do to take him to the next level? And that's exactly what you did. And you did a
Exactly.
phenomenal job. And you didn't give up. And you know what? You're reaping the rewards. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I just want to say I do want to thank you as well for rolling this program out and actually caring as much as you care for other people's kids to make sure that they are going to be able to be successful and actually like taking stress off of parents like myself that are struggling with their child with reading. You have been like a huge blessing, and I can't thank you enough. But I do. I thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, you're welcome. You are so welcome. Well, thank you for being a part of Read 21's podcast. I think a lot of parents will appreciate to hear what you've had to say. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. You have a enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye bye.